That's when like Ben was first starting to stream, so we kind of like grew up in the stream space
nice.
together. Fortnite, then after that, and like that. I mean, we are like Lupo and we started playing Fortnite, and then he had started playing PUBG with Tyler before Fortnite came out. And he was like, "Do you want to? We should get Tyler to play Fortnite with us one day because Fortnite, Tyler was Ninja was super PUBG only. That was the only game he wanted to play.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, you got to jump on Fortnite with us. Like, come on, let's like give it a shot. You know, and then like the rest is history.
Wow,
you know, like that
no
was
way.
yeah. So like we talk about it a lot on stream, but I have to say, like Lupo and I are the reason why Ninja plays Fortnite.
There you go. That's fantastic.
You're welcome, internet.
Welcome to Tardux, the podcast for content creators to come on and share their stories, experiences, and advice. And today I am super excited. I have Darkness429. Welcome.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to come do this. Really appreciate it. And yeah, you're ready to go?
I am ready. Let's do it.
All right. So we start the pod off with 3 random questions. So let's go with, what was the last movie you saw?
Man, I guess technically the Mario movie, Super Mario Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Okay. And at the end of a great day, you're sitting down for a nightcap, but you have no scotch. So what are you getting?
Well, that's fine. I would still get an old fashioned.
Okay, there we go.
I'd break out the bourbon and make an old fashioned.
All right, perfect. All right, well, welcome to the podcast. And, first of all, where does the name come from?
Oh man, this was terrible branding. I thought at the age of 14, I was playing Battlefield 2 and I had to come up with a name, and I guess that was it. Like and so it's been like I held on to it because like that was just my screen name, and like I wasn't really doing anything with it. And then Twitch came around and I was in college and I didn't really care, but I thought it was fun to like stream on Justin.tv. And I didn't really want to put much time and effort into a gamer tag, and I was just like, Darkness is cool, I'll just keep that one. So that was it. And then I actually like started making a living from streaming, and I was like, well, there's no turning back now. So that's just been my gamer tag since I was a kid.
Oh wow. All right.
Yeah.
Excellent. And now, who was Darkness before you found that go live button? What's your background?
So I've got a background in biology and psychology. That's what I went to school for. And then when my wife and I graduated University of Florida and we moved pretty far away to the East Coast of Florida for her job, for her to pursue her mechanical engineering. And I wanted to go to be a physician's assistant. So I was going to finish up some classes and then start doing schooling over there. And I found myself in this really sad place. I was really depressed, and I didn't have any friends. We were in a weird place where there was no family. And I found Twitch to be an outlet for me. Because I was already playing video games and I was already kind of doing it in college, and I saw a little bit of success. I mean, back in the day on Justin.tv, you had 50 to 100 viewers. You were like doing really well. And like, yeah, I did right around like 50 to 70 viewers when I played Battlefield, and that was really good. And I remember feeling really happy when I did that. So I started doing that again just to kind of see if those feelings could come back, and that was really, I just wanted to talk to people. I've always loved talking to people. When I was a kid, I always wanted to have my own radio show. I always wanted to be like Don LaFontaine. I wanted to do voiceover acting. I wanted to have my own radio show. And so Twitch for me, that gave me the opportunity to have my own talk show. And I was playing video games. So I got to talk to people all day, and I got to play video games, the 2 things I really love doing, and then I started making money doing it.
Yeah.
So then I was able to quit my job at Best Buy. I was doing part-time Best Buy, and I was going to school full-time. I was like, okay, I can do school in this streaming thing, and I'm making some money. I was able to replace that income. It wasn't too much. My wife was a full-time engineer. She was a sugar mama. She was bringing it home, and so her and I came up with this. We were like, hey, like if this like works out, I could keep on doing it. I could go to school. And then it just like my focus kept going more towards streaming. I wanted to continue making that better and streaming longer and doing more. And my grades were kind of slipping, and just I just didn't care as much. Yeah. And I knew that it was like, I knew I had to make a decision. That was that point where I was either going to half-ass it and I was really going to mess up my educational career, or I was going to have to let go of streaming to pursue the medical degree. And we went back and forth on it, and I was like, you know what? How many opportunities am I going to get to say like I play video games for a living?
Yeah.
That's a once in a lifetime opportunity because there was no way that I could pick that back up again.
Yeah. No.
But I could always go back to school. The educational system is never going to go away, and people are always going to be sick. And I can always go back and do refresher courses, and so like those opportunities will be permanent.
Yeah.
So I took the gamble, and my wife and I said, I did it during the summer semester. I was like, if I can do this during the entire summer semester, so 3 months, if I can keep income coming in, do it, keep going, see what happens.
Yeah.
And we did it. I did it for the first 3 months, and I was able to have a solid income, and I saw growth, and I was starting to get sponsored streams and stuff. And so we're just like, let's do it. Let's just keep going. So that is me in a nutshell.
Wow, that is fantastic. So where did video gaming start for you?
There is not a moment in my life that I can think back on and not see a controller in my hand. My earliest memory that I have of playing a video game is playing the original Super Mario, or playing the original Mario Brother on the Nintendo, on the NES, on the porch of my parents' apartment. I can see it clear as day. And like, I remember playing that game specifically.
Yeah.
And so, it was just, the NES was my thing, Duck Hunt, the one Olympic game where you had the pad,
Pro Olympics. Yep.
Pro Olympics, and the list goes on and on. All the it went all the way through the Super Mario Brothers and Donkey Kong. And then, so it's just, and again, so my parents were young enough when they had me, is they were in that video game boom.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad was a computer engineer, and he was really into video games. So I grew up doing DOS launch commands and launching Street Fighter 2. And that's how I learned how to type on a computer and spell words. Is he would change the DOS launch command to different words, and then I would have to know the launch command to then get Street Fighter to go or Mech Warrior to launch.
Yeah.
So there's not a moment where there wasn't a video game in my life. And so it's just like, it has been my norm.
Yeah.
It's just always been there. It's my constant.
Nice. And now if you could go back and replay any one game for the first time, which one would you like to relive?
I mean, nothing beats Halo. Like, that's definitely one where I have a very, very vivid memory of just the guitar riff for the first time. So I think that would probably be the original Halo launch night. I will never forget that. And I think I was like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
It was really cool. My buddy and I stayed up all night, and yeah, that was really good. So Halo.
All right, there we go. So now for you, streaming was first and then YouTube came second, or did you start creating content before streaming?
No. So my first piece of creating content was actually a podcast back when I was in high school, called the Battlefield Podcast. And that was my first introduction to real content creation, and kind of like making YouTube videos and things like that. But we were doing it under that.
Yeah.
When it came to me personally, it was always live streaming. I've never really loved doing video editing. I hate video editing. I love the live space. I love entertaining people. I like talking to people. I don't like sitting in front of a camera and reading a script. It bores the hell out of me. And so I've always put my foot down when it comes to video content creation. I like the live space, but times have changed. Times are very different. So it's always been Twitch first for me, and it's been really cool and scary to see it invert on the funnel of what was considered how you get people. It was always live streams on top, and now it's the inverse. Live streams are the bottom of the funnel, and now it's all about short form vertical content. And so like I feel like I'm aging myself when I'm talking about like how how that has all changed. But Twitch Twitch was my passion, and I was a live streamer on Twitch for 4 years, and then I got contracted by Facebook Gaming, and I helped launch that program 6 years ago this month, which was kind of crazy to think about. Unfortunately, my contract came to an end last June. But that was 5.5 years of live streaming on Facebook. So that's where, when my career kind of went. And then as I came back, I definitely knew that I had to definitely invest more time into trying to come up with, video content ideas that isn't live streaming.
Yeah.
It's my passion, but I definitely have recognized that I have to kind of lean off of that and lean more on, coming up with, good content that, really resonates with people, and then entertaining them in the live space. So it's a little bit of changes and tweaks here and there throughout the years, but that's really still where my passion is. I love the live space. There is just something very, very special about a live stream. I've never really felt connected to video content, video on demand content, the VODs. The live space has just always been my passion.
Well, it's such a unique thing because you can interact really two ways with, whoever is out there that's watching you. If as a
Yeah.
if you're doing something on the radio, you need a caller to come in. But from a
Right.
streaming standpoint, it's complete interaction, and anybody can come in. There's really no filter. If somebody sees you and they see a video of like you and Ed doing the son and father in Tarkov and say, hey, they can come in and they can just start interacting with you, and there's something special about that.
There's also no limitation to distribution. It's global. It's international.
Yeah.
It's always wild to see, good morning from, wherever.
Yeah.
Good morning from Japan. It's like, oh my God, it's tomorrow for you. Or hello from Germany. It's just or from Brazil, and it's just crazy. You never have that opportunity. Doing a radio show.
Yeah.
Or if you ever wanted to be on TV. Or a movie, you have to be on television. Or you have to be in a movie to be able to really globally reach someone. But the ability to just go live. Anyone can do it, and anyone can reach an international audience. That's just so cool.
Yeah, it's mind blowing, and you like you said, you've been doing this for a while. Like 9 years ago, you hopped on Twitch, and then what were the first few games you started on with Twitch? Was it Battlefield?
Yeah, actually, it was. I'm a Battlefield boy. Battlefield 2, Battlefield 1942 was the first game that it was like my first PC game. I remember playing it on my parents' e-machine. It was from Walmart. It was an e-machine from Walmart with an i4 processor, single core processor, and that ran 15 frames per second. That was the bare minimum, and it chugged, and we had dial-up, so we never got to play online. We always played against bots. And so but Battlefield 1942 was so cool. It was a sandbox, being able to get into any vehicle you wanted, being able to do whatever you wanted in a multiplayer match was so neat. And so I played Battlefield all the way through. And Battlefield 3 was actually my first game I ever streamed on Twitch when it was still Justin.tv.
Yeah.
But the first game that I actually when I came back to Twitch, when I was kind of in that after school, depressions, very sad Tim stage, because Best Buy sucks. Oh my God. I feel so bad for anyone that is in the retail and customer service. Oh my gosh, I do not have the personality for that. I can't do it. So Best Buy working there made me very, very sad. And the Titanfall beta was getting ready to launch. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I love mechs. I've always been a big fan of big robots. Like I told you, I played Mech Assault when I was a kid.
Yep.
I grew up watching Gundam Wing and Robotech and Macross.
Amazing
and
stuff, yep.
All of these amazing, big mech shows. And I love big robots. And I see the trailer for Titanfall. I was like, oh my God, it's like Call of Duty. But then there's big robots that I can get. That's awesome. And I booted up Titanfall. And that was my game. The first time I ever got a gooser, it was like when someone ejects and you shoot them out of the air. I remember making that clip and uploading it, and that was just so neat. It was like the coolest thing because I remember it was during my week break. I took a week off. They gave me a week off, and I remember I was playing the beta during that week off, and that was my first game that I streamed on Twitch. And that's how I got partnered on Twitch was with Titanfall. I stuck it out. Like a bunch of people, all the big COD guys, they all played Titanfall, and then they left it, because they went back to their other games. But I stuck it out because I saw myself growing. I was always number one in the directory, and that was my game.
Nice.
That really kicked it off.
It was such an amazing game, such a unique experience too. Like you said, you have the COD experience, but along with Mech Warrior, and you can interact, and it was such a great concept.
Yeah, it was so cool, and I actually got to go to the studios, the Respawn studios, and give feedback on Titanfall 2, and that was a really cool experience to get to actually sit down and really help with that one. It was a real shame we didn't get Titanfall 3. It was a terrible launch for Titanfall 2, getting put up against Call of Duty and Battlefield. I fervently believe that is why that game flopped.
Yep.
And then Apex. And so I'm so happy for the Respawn guys that Apex is there. But as a Titanfall fan, I want my mechs back.
Yeah. Nice. And now, when did you start, at what point did you switch off of Titanfall and start transitioning into other games?
Oh, man. I mean, like I told you, Battlefield boy. So when Battlefield 4 came out, I was playing a lot of Battlefield 4. And then I started, going back and forth. People knew me for the Titanfall. And then I really enjoyed playing Battlefield 4. So we would do like half days, or we'd do one day and then the other. And we kind of had a schedule there. But those were really like the two games that I kind of stuck to, because all streamers fall into the mentality of like, I can't go to another game because my viewership. you know. So it was kind of like it was just one jump to the next. I never really got into variety until I got to Facebook.
Yeah.
So it was Titanfall and Battlefield, and then after Battlefield it was Rainbow Six. And I
Okay.
stayed on Rainbow Six. I was very good at Rainbow Six Siege. I got approached by a few esports organizations that wanted to recruit me. I had the offer to go do casting in Poland for the Siege invitationals that we're doing there. I was so terrified to go to Poland, but my buddy who didn't have a family, he had like no responsibilities. He got it, Sean. I'm super happy he got to do that. But Rainbow Six was huge. That was another like big one. People still come to me like, when's the next Rainbow Six stream? You got to get back on it. It's a completely different game now. It's changed so much from when it first launched. And then after Siege, it was Fortnite, PUBG, and then that's when I met like Dr. Lupo. That's when like Ben was first starting to stream, so we kind of like grew up in the stream space together. Fortnite. Then after that, and like that, I mean, we are like Lupo and we started playing Fortnite, and then he had started playing PUBG with Tyler before Fortnite came out. And he was like, we should get Tyler to play Fortnite with us one day. Because Fortnite, Tyler Ninja was super PUBG only. That was the only game he wanted to play.
Yeah.
And we're like, dude, you got to jump on Fortnite with us. Like, come on, let's like give it a shot. You know, and then like the rest is history.
Wow,
you know, like,
no way.
Yeah, so like we talk about it a lot on stream, but I have to say, like, Lupo and I are the reason why Ninja plays Fortnite.
There you go. That's fantastic.
You're welcome, internet.
And now, when you transitioned over to Facebook gaming, did you find that your community came with you, your viewership, or were you really starting from scratch?
Yeah, I mean, like I will, yes and no. The hardcore fans, you know, like I am so thankful for those people because I still have I have some moderators that have been my mods since the beginning.
Wow.
I have people in my chat still who have been with me since Twitch, and they went to Facebook. And then they went to YouTube, and then Twitch opened up multi-streaming, and now they're back on Twitch. And so it's like we've done this full circle. But yeah, there was definitely a core community that went with me. There was definitely a lot of people who are anti-Facebook. Totally understand that.
Yeah.
And then there was just Twitch purists, which I totally understand that too. You're loyal to the platform. You really enjoy its tools or the way that you take in the content is just enjoyable to you on Twitch. And people didn't like seeing they didn't like their grandma knowing that they were watching me or that they made like a funny like lewd comment.
Yeah.
Because like in a Twitch environment, that's fine. You can make your fun like innuendos, and it's just within like our little hyperbolic chamber. But when grandma and your aunt see you making like phallic jokes,
yes,
it gets awkward. It gets really awkward. So I totally understand, but it was, man, boy, was that just a great offer. It was just like any streamer, like that is like an end game goal. Like you want to have that financial backing to be able to create content and do whatever you want. And that was really cool. And I got very fortunate to be able to grow the way that I did on Facebook when it happened. So I do talk a lot of crap about the platform now, but at that time it was great.
The thing that I found not uncomfortable with Facebook was your real name is there when you're interacting.
Yes,
and that's a tough thing.
We fought really hard for that one. There was a lot of workarounds. People making pages. Like I have a Darkness429 fan page, and so people are making fan pages. We there was a lot of feedback that we gave to the platform that just unfortunately just fell on deaf ears. Or Facebook is a huge company. And gaming is just but a tiny gear in that massive machine.
Yeah.
So it was hard to get a lot of things done for it to be a true gaming platform, and they've got their own plans and however they're going to continue dealing with gaming on the platform. So it is what it is. But I have definitely enjoyed seeing the streaming space change. It's very interesting. It's wild to see like who's a competitor now versus who isn't. Where some platforms don't even exist anymore. Going through the Mixer boom and all of that stuff. It's been wild to see the evolution of content creation. TikTok, is another monster that just kind of just appeared out of nowhere, which completely changed the game. And we're getting ready to go through another boom. We're definitely ready for a transition of some sort, especially as now that AR is becoming more of a real thing. Apple is now rolling out these systems, and content consumption is going to change immensely in the next 5 to 10 years. And so I'm excited to see what the next transition is going to be, because live space, we could I mean, hell, live space is going to end up being like on the holodeck at some point.
Right.
You know, we're all going to be just be standing in a room, and we're actually going to be like interacting with avatars and stuff. I mean, it's kind of already there with, you know, the meta stuff.
Yep.
So I'm excited, very, very excited to see how that changes.
And now from the Facebook side of things, what did you like that they did well that you would like to see on other platforms? Is there something on the GUI or something from the, you know, the streamer side?
It's the content distribution. The
Yeah.
content distribution is just so good. When you have a platform, which is scary as it sounds, but when it is able to pinpoint your demographic to the town that they live in, when it comes to their ad platform systems, I mean, like, they're the best distribution system in the world when it comes to advertising.
Yeah.
So you're able to, when you have that much data behind you, your targeting systems are just so precise. And so that's the hardest part when it comes to like Twitch.
Yeah.
Twitch will never, until they completely change their entire backend system when it comes to content, when it comes to information gathering on the user, you're never going to have a true algorithm in actually getting the accurate data or the accurate content that you want to consume. That's why TikTok does so well. Yep. TikTok is able to and YouTube does the same thing. It's insane how quickly YouTube or Instagram and they can all pick up on your behaviors. I think that's the biggest thing, is just being able to have more control on who sees my content and making sure people actually see my content.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think like YouTube does such a great job. Like their analytics and being able to actually analyze where the viewership's coming from and actually see like, oh, the platform's actually pushing my content. That's the one thing that Facebook fails to do very well. Now, it did very well before, and now that as they've been getting like cuffed and they've been getting cleaved off because of all these things going on with the government and actually locking down data, or, you know, taking the control away from the platform and giving it back to the user, they are losing out on distribution. The possibility of distribution has gone down a lot, and so the content creators on that platform are having a hard time, whereas like on YouTube, content creators continue to flourish because they're able to actually target their audience correctly. So I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to content creation, is actually being able to get your content to someone. And so these platforms like YouTube and Twitch are actually doing a really good job of that. So I don't think there's a lot of things that need to change, other than just being able to make sure that you're making sure that your content is being seen by the people that want to see it.
Yep. I think one thing I've had a couple of conversations with people like Veritas and Deadly about the content creator side. Like, when you get to a certain level, if there was some mechanism in place, especially for the folks in the, you know, from the state side of things, healthcare, vacation, you know, some sort of a sick data to compensate, so that, you know, because it's a real job what you guys are doing, but you don't have those benefits unless you're married, your spouse brings in the benefits, and it's a tough career to try to establish and stay in it.
It's expensive. It is very, very expensive to own your own business.
Yeah.
When you are self-funding, it is very hard. I have 3 different businesses. I've got my streaming, I've got my coffee company, we've got our media company, and we've got our merch company. And it is just like, it is expensive to do this, but at the same, it's so rewarding.
Yes.
You know, so but you are correct. It is really, it's frustrating. We don't have the feelings of freedom when it comes to taking vacation days.
Yeah.
It is scary when you take 2 days off and you come back and you're like, where did 300 subs go?
Right.
You know, and there's just, and we are not designed to handle the emotional roller coaster that is this live streaming space. Yep. Streamers have to put on they have to put on a face. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think viewers understand what happens behind the scenes for a lot of content creators, and just how stressed, like, it is very stressful when you like you said, you don't have sick days, you don't have time off. And I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I have the coolest job in the world.
Yes.
And I think at the end of the day, all content creators we can complain about the things that we don't have, but at the end of the day, we probably have the coolest job in the world, because we can go. If I could go back in time and tell 5-year-old me, it's like, don't worry, dude, you're gonna get to do this as a job. You know, like, that's, you know, all the times when I got in trouble and got grounded and I didn't get to play video games or whatever, it's like, don't worry about it, dude. It's going to get a lot better. So yeah, but you know, I would love to see something change. I would love to see, because at some point this has to be recognized, because it's no longer a niche.
Right.
Like there are children right now that are like, when I grow up, I want to be a live streamer.
Yep.
What? 10 years ago, my mother-in-law didn't want to tell her high school seniors what I did for a living, because she was afraid they were going to drop out.
Yep.
And now kids are like, I want to be the next Mr. Beast. You
Yep.
know, I want to be the next Ninja or Tim the Tatman or whoever. And that's wild to me. That was we were seen as like a pariah,
Yes.
10 years ago. We were seen as like YouTubers had way more it was just YouTube and that was it. And even YouTubers were still kind of like a niche.
Yes.
So it's been wild to just see the evolution. So again, back to the whole, there is going to be a change in the next 5 to 10 years into how all this works.
Yep.
I think that's definitely going to be something where it comes to content creators are going to be handled the same way that, actors are handled, like under the Actors Guild. Like there's going to be something there that's going to have to end up protecting, content creators and making sure that everyone has, people don't understand how the mental health that streamers have to go, or content creators in general, like where their mental health is. Yep. It's a roller coaster. I mean, yeah, we have really good days and we have really, really bad days. Yeah. And I don't care which content creator out there. I don't, if it's Tim the Tatman or PewDiePie or Mr. Beast, everyone has a bad day.
Yeah.
And those and it is volatile, 100%. and so like those are definitely things that just basic necessities. Would love to see those, kind of worked into something. When you get to a certain level.
Exactly.
Having that Facebook contract, that guarantee of income, of some sort, even if when you reach a certain threshold now and you're getting like Partner Plus and things like that. And imagine if you were able to even go even further.
Yep.
I mean, at some point, I think that's the route we're going. It has to.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can't be garage self-funded productions, forever.
No, when I was talking to Veritas, he made a good point that, like back in the 90s, you had the Disney actor kids that, there's going to be some symptoms that are going to come out of that. Just like this, the early streamers or the streamers today, putting in 10 to 12 hours in a room by themselves. There's going to be some diagnosis down the road that's going to have an impact on these people.
I have been saying for the longest time, I have streamer brain. There are some tasks that I used to be able to do without even thinking about it. It was with so much ease that it was just second nature.
Yeah.
And now there are certain things where I'm just like, I get foggy brained and I'm just like, there's certain things that just I'm not as quick. And a lot of it I think is because of streaming and like, and you're right. There is going to be, I think at some point we're going to get some documentary or some book, that is going to show that, hey, this is, we did a 10-year, documentary on a streamer and here's what we saw.
Yeah.
It's going to be wild and people are gonna be like, oh, I don't want my kid to do that.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's gonna be wild. And again, it's so wild to see the evolution of it all.
Yep.
Just being in it for so long.
And there's so many things you can do. It's not just you can be a editor. You can do other things other than just sit in front of game. It's a whole industry.
Yeah, I mean, like I told you, like my media company, like we set up the productions, we set up the live streams for these companies to go do that, and like I love doing that. I love being able to tell people how to spend their money and set up a live stream.
Yeah,
because I've been doing it for so long, and now I just get to consult on that with my friends. Like that's really neat, and like that's what I've been telling a lot of streamers. Everyone's always like to me, like if you had any advice to a streamer, like what would you tell them? It's, you got to work on like you got to hustle on your other side projects. You've got to work on that. So you make sure when you get to a point you're just like, I'm tired of not having vacation days and I'm tired of not having time off, then you can rely on your other projects to take care of that for you. So,
yep. And that's where some of the creators I've had on that branch, they look back and their regrets was, we're not getting into YouTube earlier because that can just work while they're not streaming and take days off and things like that.
Back to tell you, when I said like I was all about live streaming, like that's definitely one thing that I regret. For sure. I was like not getting into it, but at the same time, that's not where my passion was. So I can say, man, I know I would have killed it, but my heart wouldn't have been in it.
Yeah.
And I would have hated it. So I think it's so easy to look back and go, damn, I missed out, but then you wouldn't be where you are right now.
Nope. That's true. Absolutely.
So like, I'm happy where I'm at. It's just like, I got to do a lot of things. I was actually talking to somebody last night about it. I was like, I got to say that I've done a lot. So it's just, yes, I could have put more on Instagram. I could have started putting content on TikTok before, the pandemic, and I'm sure it could have blown up.
But you branched off
so many different ways.
You branched off and did other things that helped you.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
I
got the coffee company, and you've got the media company, and now we started this merch company. And so, yeah, it's all about, those decisions that you make in the moment, and it's all good, man.
Absolutely. And now, after your Facebook contract came to an end, what you had paths to go. Kick,
Yeah,
YouTube, Twitch.
after I stopped pooping my pants. No, it was definitely something that needed to happen. It got to the point where I was like, I really need this to end.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, stop offering me money. Just please stop. You know, it's just like, you know, I would sit down with my wife and I'm like, oh, do I sign another contract? It's like, it'd be stupid for you not to. I'm like, oh, all right. So it was a little scary at first, but it was definitely something where it was exciting because it was something new and fresh. You know,
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I have been a little rejuvenated. I think there was definitely a point where I was just like I said, or just a few moments ago, I was waiting for it to be over. I just wanted it to be done.
Yeah.
And I think people saw that. So going back to, you know, doing the YouTube thing was really fun. Getting to go back to Twitch has been great though.
Nice.
You know, I like YouTube because of the quality. You know, being able to stream at 1440p at 60 frames per second, you know, people are able to see so much detail. It looks great. You know, it's like they're literally looking at what I'm seeing on my monitor, which is amazing. But man, there is something very special and unique about Twitch culture.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate that it does not go outside the Twitch barriers. Like I tried so hard to recreate my Twitch chat experience on Facebook.
Yeah.
Just couldn't do it. It never worked. The culture, the lulls, the KEKWs, the kappas, you know, like that just does not transcend to Facebook. It does to YouTube though. It's actually really funny to see how much of YouTube chat is very similar to Twitch chat, which is, I think that's why I feel so at home in both places, because they're very, very similar to one another. Whereas like YouTube is a little Facebook in the sense of like setting up a post and having to go live. And I was like, okay, that feels like the last 5 years of my life. And then the chat experience feels like a true chat room. And so like that is just, honestly, that has been the most fun for me coming back, is just being able to engage with my chat the way that I grew up doing it, you know? And
Nice.
It was really, really fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talked about the Twitch chat and the YouTube chat. I had a creator on there a while ago, and they were talking about the Twitch chat community just feels a little different, more closer, tight knit versus the YouTube chat. And what, you know, just curious to get your take.
Yeah, I think it's again, it's that the little bubble that Twitch is.
Yeah.
You know, things just do not transcend those limits. Whereas YouTube is the largest search engine in the world.
Right.
So, you know, I get random people all the time in YouTube, but very, very rarely do you get like the random people in Twitch chat that are like, what is this game? Or like, what is a KEKW? You know, like everyone knows what they're getting themselves into. You know, like they might not have heard of that game or like, what's the name of this game? But that's it. You know, like, and then like, or they'll all help each other out. You know, there's something about Twitch chat that is just so different. You cannot get the culture anywhere else. Whereas YouTube feels a little more Facebooky in the sense of like, it's just, there are so many people.
Yeah.
And that you'll get random people from all over the world, you know, come in. Whereas there are it's clicky. Twitch is a click. It's just click. It's just high school. There is no way around it. Twitch is just high school. And that is probably the one thing that I definitely felt free from when I left Twitch to go to Facebook. It was like, it's not the high school drama anymore. I kind of just like kept my head down and just did my own little thing on Facebook, because all of that just stayed on Twitch. You know, people would talk about like Pokimane, or did you hear the thing that XQC did? I'm like, nope, I'm just on Facebook. I have no idea what's going on. Because, and again, it's just because it's just a high school clique. It just, everyone kind of stays in their own little bubble.
Nice. And now, you know, did you find it easier now that you are where you are? Do you find it easier transitioning off games? Like you can play pretty much what you want to play, and that's got to be a you know, easier from a, you know, mental health standpoint too. You're not locked into a game.
I mean, I got really lucky financially with Facebook, and so I felt the freedom to. It would be okay if I took the hit. You know, if I took the hit in subs, or if I took the hit in my view count. And so I think that's where the confidence now comes from, is knowing that I can do it. If it wasn't for the Facebook window, I wouldn't have the confidence to do that, because it sucks when you know that your subs go up only because you're playing a certain game. And that's fine. I totally get it. But I now have the confidence to be like, no, it's okay. Yeah. I'll be all right. And I couldn't do that 8 years ago. Not a chance in the world. I would be pooping my pants. But yeah, no, I can now like look myself in the mirror and be like, you're gonna be okay. Like enjoy it. Enjoy the ride, because regardless of how many people are watching in that moment, I know that people will watch it tomorrow. Yeah. You know, like a playthrough, for example. Like I know that maybe I only have 500 viewers while I play my single player game right now, but when they finish, they might want to watch how I did it. Or they might want to watch my reaction. Or they were reading chat one day and someone was talking about Tim crying while he finished Death Stranding because it was such a beautiful ending.
Yeah.
And so people went back and watched my Death Stranding playthrough to figure out what happened. They wanted to see my reaction. And at that moment in time, I had just become a father.
Yeah.
And so my son was 3 months old, and I'm going through this whole thing with Death Stranding, and I'm just losing it.
Oh, no way.
And that was one of my most popular streams ever. And it actually got and it continued to get more views even a year later because people wanted to go back and that became a thing where people were like, I just rewatched your Death Stranding playthrough again. I was like, that's 40 hours. You spent an entire week and watched that? And so it's cool. And so like that, and that's where the confidence come from, is knowing that I could still entertain someone, not even being live.
Yep.
So
nice. And fatherhood changes everything. How you watch, commercials, songs, movies, they just all hit different.
Yeah, you physically change. Your brain chemistry completely flips on you.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It is. Yeah, nothing prepares for, the scariest moments when you get in the car, you look back there and there's a baby and there's no instruction manual. It's like, now
and
what?
I'm just like, I hope I don't hit any bumps on the way home.
Exactly. Now, looking back on, that first summer you said, okay, I'm going to try this. Was there a certain moment, or was it just momentum that got you to the point where, okay, we can do this. I can sustain this now as a living?
If it wasn't for the fact my wife was a full-time engineer, it would have never happened.
Okay.
Yeah, like that is the God honest truth. Like my wife really helped, because there was one summer when it was the summer after. It was the year after I went full-time. The summer had come. Summertime sucks for content creation.
That's what I hear.
It's dead.
Yeah.
No one's watching. I remember that I had a negative number in my PayPal account because I hadn't been paid from Twitch, and like it wasn't good. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And if it wasn't for the fact that my wife took on the financial burden for like the first 2 years of that, because like I was doing okay, but then there was definitely there was one bad month. There was just one bad month where like bills hit, and I was taking on some of the payments, and like I was trying to pay it, and then other things were Twitch hadn't paid, and like all this other stuff. And so like I remember that feeling of like, I don't know if I can do this. And she stepped up and she was like, this is your thing. Let's make it happen.
Nice.
So yeah.
And that's what I've found to be a common thread with a lot of other creators who have been successful, having that spouse or having the support from the parents to really know that, you've got sort of a safety net. If you don't make it, you're good. You'll be fine. Yep.
Most definitely. Yeah. You just like having a contract or anything else, like just being able to know that it's going to be okay to experiment a little bit, or, it's just like, if you do have a bad month, it's still going to be okay.
Yeah.
So very, very, very thankful for that, because without her, I would not be here right now.
And now, looking back, what have been some of the highlights, the flashbulb moments for you that really like, wow, that was fun, or wow, I can't believe we did that?
Man. There are so many of them. My first ever, the first time I broke 10,000 views on 10,000 viewers on Twitch was wild. I was the first ever person to stream Star Wars Battlefront, and I had 14,000 people watching me at one point, and that was those were crazy numbers. I don't even think Lyric was hitting those numbers.
Yeah.
That was one day. It was one day where I was number one on Twitch. It was really cool. That's my first ever charity stream. I'll never forget that. I got to raise $10,000 for St. Jude. I did a 24-hour stream. I raised $10,000 for St. Jude, and now my company helps put on one of the largest gaming charity marathons for St. Jude.
Yeah.
That's sick. That is just and so that's another moment that just really sticks out, because I think that was one of those moments that pushed me in the direction that I am now.
Yeah.
Facebook, launching that, and Fortnite, the Fortnite Facebook boom, hitting 20,000 viewers on Facebook, and that was a constant. That was wild, to when I would hear that the CFO of Facebook was hanging out in my stream, or when I would see athletes pop up in my stream, because if you were verified on Facebook, it would announce the entire chat room that so and so came in. So I would see athletes, I would see people from high ups on Facebook, all these people show up, and so that was another just another defining moment of holy crap, this is real, this is happening.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's so many moments, man. Like all the stuff that we've done for St. Jude, like GCX, those are like another like just big thing that I get to just like put on the board as just
Yeah.
like a big moment, you know, like, and every GCX has just been so, it just continues to surpass the next one. So it's hard to say one GCX because like
Right.
every GCX has just been a banger.
Well, and to add on to that, something that I just, discovering the Tarkov community a few years back and see,
Yeah.
streaming and Twitch and whatnot, the gamers that do the amazing things for the charities. I think that is such a wonderful thing to see, like you were just saying, for the St. Jude's, what Pesley does for Starlight. It's just
Yeah.
amazing to see. It's fantastic what you guys are,
We
and your
we are
communities.
Well, and that's the thing, community. You know, we are given, you know, this amazing platform by all these people all over the world. And it would be such a disservice to the world to not give back.
Yeah.
Why like I'm it's there is going to be a day where I will no longer be here. I will no longer exist. But the work that I've done with the people that I work with,
Hmm.
that will live on. And the ability to change a life is so it is like knowing that you really helped like save a life
Yep.
and getting to see where that goes is one of the most like just you can't put words to it. It is just it is a joy, it is an emotion that you just can't explain. And so if I kept all that for myself and if I kept all of the money and like, you know, I just, you know, me, okay, that's great for me, but it's all going to go away one day. So what's left? What's my legacy?
Right.
That's important to me. Let my legacy. I want to know that when I'm gone and my son looks me up on the internet or asks his AI assistant, you know, tell me about Tim Havelock. When he
Yeah.
just wants to, hear about his dad. I want him to be like, I'm super proud of him. And that's the big thing for me is and why I do it and why I try to support other people and
Hmm.
help them do it. I might not be able to raise, $5 million on a live stream, but I can try to help empower other people. And Lupo talks about this all the time. And I love this Danny Thomas quote, but I'd rather have 1 million people donate $1 than one person donate 1
Yep.
million. And so I would rather us get 50 people, and myself to go out and find a bunch of people and I'll raise a bunch of money. And that's what
Yeah.
I think is so beautiful about GCX and like BAC, and all the other amazing charities that all these content creators, help raise money for.
Right.
And it really shows just how important that is to them. Like those are the good ones. Like those are the people that you should be following and you should be sub to because those are the people who have real hearts.
Yep.
They really do care.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of community, how would you describe the Darkness community?
Insane. It's bunch of weirdos. Bunch of middle-aged horn dogs. No, it's wild, man. I'm very, very fortunate. Like they have their memes. They call themselves a cult.
Yeah.
And so I run with the whole no, it's not a cult, it's just a community under leadership of Tim. It's not a cult, it's just a community. Like that's wild. Like, like people making fun of like my legs so I can squish pumpkins and stuff. Like it's just nuts. We always say like the chat is a reflection of the streamer, and I really am surrounded by just some really awesome people who have huge hearts that are very, very welcoming and loving and very supportive and shouldn't be as supportive as they are because like they have helped me in more ways than I could ever count. And so if I could describe all of them with one word, it's just they're amazing.
Yeah. Nice. And
Yeah.
now somebody who's watching this, pod and like, who's Darkness? What are they in for when they come to your stream?
A 33-year-old dude who flexes and screams his head off and likes to do a bunch of silly accents. Yeah, I mean, like I for the longest time I was a competitive shooter. Like that was my thing. Like I competed. I loved teaching. I loved talking to people, and so like that was my thing. It was like trying to help people get better at video games and putting on a good show. Like when you come into stream, like you're just, for the most part, if I'm not having a bad day on Tarkov and being poo-pooed, you're gonna find somebody who's hopefully gonna put a smile on your face and just like have a great interaction. So
Nice.
yeah.
And now speaking of stream, what are you playing on stream these days? Tarkov, of course.
Yeah, we're doing Tarkov. It's definitely, this wipe has been the best wipe that I have been a part of.
Yeah.
And I've been a part of almost all of them since the first Twitch drop session. This one is the best one. Cheaters are still a little rough. I
Yep.
died to a cheater a couple days ago, and it was wild. But for the most part, it's great. Definitely looking forward to Gray Zone Warfare. I've been talking with those guys. I've been talking with Rick, who their community manager is, and he's awesome. And I'm very, very excited for that game. So holding out on that. You know, we played Suicide Squad. I was little sad about that one. I love my superhero games. We could do another complete podcast about live service and why that shouldn't have happened with a superhero game. But we did that, and then Magic. You know, we've been playing a lot of Magic. Like I was telling you before we started recording, we just did a pre-release event for the Murders at Karlov Manor, and so Magic has just been a ton of fun. It's been great. So it's been Tarkov, some Pal World, and Magic.
Nice. Now, speaking of superheroes, what was your take on The Boys? Did you watch it?
Oh man, I am so excited for the next season because they said it's going to be even gorier than the last.
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, how do you do that? How you shrunk a man, you stuck him inside another man, and then he exploded. Like I don't understand. You know, it is wild. So I love The Boys. I heard that the animated, the one that was out on Amazon, apparently that's amazing too.
Oh,
I haven't
really?
watched that one. Yeah, there's an animated series that is in The Boys universe. But yeah, love it. Oh my God.
What a
very
great
excited.
Concept, you know?
Right? Yeah, I mean, like it is cool to see superheroes put in this light.
Yes.
It is in this frame. It is very cool to see this take on the superhero genre. I like it a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. It's dark. It's just like, oh, you have management for superheroes, and
It's great. I mean, like, and you're like, oh, this is hitting too close. You get like, a little uncomfortable. So when Starlight and when she was doing the whole concert tour, like that made me so uncomfortable. I'm just like, can't.
Yeah. And now, you know, another love for you that you have is Star Wars, and you do a podcast, Star Wars and Scotch. How did that come about?
Oh man! So my buddy Kevin and I, we found out that we were big Star Wars fans, and we were planning out panels for GCX at the time. And at that time, that was the first GCX. Holy crap! Okay, so first GCX we ever changed. We went from Guardian Con because it was a Destiny focused event, and we changed it to GCX. First year GCX, we needed to come up with an idea for a panel. And we were like, you know, we both love Star Wars. Let's just talk about Star Wars for an hour. Like, you know, we just need to fill the spot. Maybe some people will show up. We packed the room.
Oh, wow.
And we talked about Star Wars, and we're just like, Kevin, we're going to have to do something with this. And so at that time, they had announced The Mandalorian. And we're like, all right, okay, let's do a podcast about The Mandalorian. Let's just talk about it. But what happens when The Mandalorian ends? Crap. We should call it spoiler cast. Let's spoil the episodes for people. and you know, we'll just watch the new shows that are coming out and we'll talk about them and it'll be great. So we get into The Mandalorian, and every episode we were live streaming it at the time. So, you know, people are coming in chat, they're asking us questions, and people are like, oh my God, these guys are really knowledgeable. They know, like Kevin knows almost everything about the expanded universe.
Yeah.
All old school Star Wars, Kevin. Me is current Star Wars. I can tell you all the different timelines or anything that happened in a timeline. But if you start doing multiverse stuff, I'm out. I'm done. But when you anything that is in current canon, I can give you an answer on, for the most part. And so we started doing that, and then The Mandalorian ended. Like, okay, The Witcher's coming out. Let's do The Witcher. We don't know anything about The Witcher. People start asking us questions like Googling stuff, and we get through it, and we both look to each other and we're just like, I hate this. He's like, I hate it too. And I was like, let's just bring back Star Wars. What are we gonna do? Let's just drink. Let's just drink and talk about Star Wars. I love this. Star Wars and Scotch.
There we go. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And now, what age did you discover Star Wars?
I will never forget. I was probably 6 years old. My uncle gave me the VHS collection of 4, 5, and 6 before they remastered it.
Okay.
This was the updated version before the remaster. And I started with episode 6.
Oh, okay.
He gave them to me, and I was like, this is cool. I watched Return of the Jedi first.
Oh.
And Luke Skywalker and his green lightsaber, Jabba the Hutt, Darth Vader, this scary guy who shoots lightning out of his fingers,
Yep.
and the rest is history. I had every single Star Wars toy. I had the collector's edition when it came out in 2000, when it had the gold embossed Darth Vader. I watched every single of the prequel, the new trilogy in movie theaters. You know, again, you know, like how video game was a constant, Star Wars was just another constant in my life. My mom's youngest brother, my youngest uncle, is 5 years older than I am. And so he always had the cooler toys than me.
Okay,
so I got to go over to my grandmother's house and I got to play with my uncle. And that's where a lot of my love for like Gundam and Robotech and Star Wars came from. So it just kind of like that relationship with my uncles fed into my nerdism, my love for all of these different cultures. So yeah, that's where Star Wars started for me, was Return of the Jedi. I was probably like 6 or 7 years old. But yeah, man, I love Star Wars. I've been to Star Wars Celebration a handful of times. I just did the lightsaber build experience again with my son for the first time, which was sick. Oh, it was so cool because when I did it, he was a baby. Yeah. It was just, they had just opened up Disney again after lockdown. We were like one of the first to get in there and do it, and that was really cool. That was neat. But then getting to do it with my kid and watching him freak out when things happen, it is so cool.
Excellent. So there are some advantages of being old like me. So I got to see, you know, episode 4, 77 in the movie, you know, a drive-in. Wow. But
did you get the pin? Did you get the pin for it?
I didn't get a pin. So I grew up in Eastern Canada. They probably didn't even find, you know, where we lived to send out the pins.
Okay. All right.
But I did suffer though, because after Return of the Jedi, it was a barren wasteland. There was no Star Wars until Timothy Zahn. Yeah, we had Timothy Zahn with the Heir to the Empire. And that was like, you know, it was amazing to jump back
so are
into
you
it.
a big Star Wars fan?
Huge, absolutely.
Okay, so you have to come on Star Wars and Scotch. And what do you think of Thrawn right now?
I love Thrawn, the character. I remember reading about him first, and then he made an appearance in the cartoons. Like, okay, that's cool. Not a fan of his voice in the... You know, with Ahsoka, I don't know, there's something about his voice that just doesn't match up with Thrawn.
Okay.
Something about it.
But so you read Heir to the Empire.
Yes.
And
I'm so disappointed we didn't see Mara Jade and Luke get together with Leia and Han and Jason and Jaina and the twins. That I just
you were an expanded. You and Kevin are just gonna love each other. The expanded universe is wild. Have you read the new Thrawn books?
I have listened. Well, so are we talking about the ones where like him and Anakin are like
so that's Ascendant. So that's the Ascendancy trilogy.
Yeah.
What's really cool about that is they go to Black Spire Outpost. This is how Disney worked in their theme park into the books.
Oh.
They go to Black Spire Outpost as Anakin and Thrawn. And then if you read the trilogy where Thrawn is in the Empire, when he's actually working his way up through, you know, to become a Grand Admiral, him and Vader go back.
Yes.
They go back to Batu. They go to Black Spire Outpost, and so it's just like it's cool. It's really neat. It's just oh my god, I love Thrawn. Thrawn is my favorite Star Wars character.
Yep.
I love Jedi and Sith. Like you know, I can be I'm the edgy Sith guy. I love Darth Maul. He is my go-to Sith bad guy. Like I always make the joke, Empire did no wrong, and then Andor comes out, and you're like, that's genocide. You can't. You know, because like it was funny to say that because like the Empire has yet to really be shown in the dark light, other than like blowing up, you know, a planet.
Yeah.
You don't get to see the dark side really. Like if you read some of the books, they talk about, you know, harvesting planets for the resources and then just piecing out. They put them in concentration camps and then they leave.
Yep.
That's dark. And you only knew that if you read it. And so you could still get away with the joke of like, the Empire is great. They're just, you know, they want to bring, you know, balance and they don't want to get rid of the chaos and bring order. And then Andor came out, and you're just, and you know, Rogue One came out, and you're just like, oh my god, this is bad stuff. And so, and that's what I love so much now is like you're getting the full picture of Star Wars right now. Currently.
Well, like in Rogue One, the end of it, you really saw Vader's strength of just ripping things apart and just slaughtering. It's like, wow, that was cool.
And I love how they have evolved Vader's character. Anakin in Obi-Wan is the best form of Anakin in Obi-Wan. Like that is Vader, and it is so cool to see that turmoil and that really the when Luke says, "I still feel the good in you. I still sense the good in you, Father." Like that is where you really see it, because you don't really ever see that in any other point. It's like
Nope.
you get like mopey, sad teenage Anakin, and then boom, he's bad. And then if you just go to right at episode 4, it's just Nazi soldier,
Right.
Darth Vader. Like that's it. That's all you can. That's all you see. But you really get to see the true Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. And so people, I've seen some people like poop on Obi-Wan because they didn't like it for whichever reason. But I think seeing Anakin's true progression all the way through now has just been a wonderful story.
Absolutely.
And now we're even seeing it more in Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And getting to see it in Rebels and getting to see it in Clone Wars. Like we really do get this full beautiful picture.
Clone Wars was so well done. The whole, those 6-7 seasons of Clone Wars is one of my favorite
masterpiece.
Animes. Yes,
oh my
absolutely.
god, dude! Like the fight between Darth Maul and Ahsoka in the throne room on Mandalore is my favorite lightsaber fight. You no matter what,
Right.
like I don't care, live or animated, like that is the best lightsaber fight.
So I got a funny story. So growing up with 4, 5, and 6. Boba Fett was the badass. But I had talking to Annemunition when she was on. She has a controversial statement. She says
What does she say?
Is overhyped. You have a blind Han Solo that takes him out. It's like, yeah, you kind of got a point.
The only reason why Boba Fett was so iconic is because he had such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And he looked the coolest.
Oh, he did look the coolest.
He looked the coolest. This guy who's got this battle armor on, he could shoot a rocket off his back. He's got a jetpack. He's got this badass ship.
Yep.
He's a bounty hunter. Like he's got this grapple. He's got a flamethrower. Like he's got all this cool stuff. It's like I think those type of characters become popular because they're the most relatable.
Yeah.
I could see myself in a jetpack. I can't make things levitate and throw a lightsaber around.
Right.
And it was funny going to Star Wars Celebration. That is the most cosplayed thing. Even before, this is before the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
This is before. This is like right around Clone Wars ish time, and the Mandalorians are the most cosplayed.
Oh, I believe that. Yep.
Character, because people get to become that character.
Yep.
You can cosplay as Luke, but guess what? You're Luke.
Right.
You can cosplay as any Star Wars character, but you're that Star Wars character. When you cosplay as a Mandalorian, that's you. You get to put in all the flair and all of these things that get to showcase who you are as a person.
Exactly,
And you get to express that in a Star Wars way. And I think that's why the Mandalorians are so loved by people, because you could even see it in the Mandalorian show when you get into the later seasons. So this last season that we got, as you see the foundlings and all these people, they're putting all their janky armor together, but it's expressive of them as individuals. And I think that's the biggest thing, and that people love so much about Star Wars. It's escapism, and it's the ability to really express yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the coolest things I got to see from an event standpoint was Star Wars, the sort of orchestra, where you had Anthony Daniels being the MC, and you had a full orchestra playing the soundtracks while the movie was going on. I got to take my son to that when he was 8, and they had the 501st there doing their cosplay, and it was such a neat thing to see.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, I would love to meet Anthony Daniels.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool.
So, so we kind of turned this into a Star Wars and Scotch.
Yeah, so sorry for not recognizing all of the Star Wars paraphernalia behind you. I'm like, we're talking about Star Wars, like that's a stormtrooper, and there's a Boba Fett, and there's this. That's awesome.
And having children gets you sort of like, hey, I'm going to buy Ethan a Star Wars gift for Christmas, and it's just like, Christmas Day is like, Barry, I thought we had a budget. Yeah, but it's Star Wars. It's cool. Lego Star Wars. And,
I took a 4-year-old to go do a $250 lightsaber experience. Like,
yes.
Yeah, I totally understand.
Absolutely.
Most definitely.
So now, after Star Wars, you're part of RareDrop.
Yeah.
What is RareDrop?
RareDrop is we are a marketing agency and production company. Our tagline is we are the company that we're your RareDrop. We give you the one up on the competition. And so that's the biggest thing is we put on GCX, we help put on local events. We've produced things for the Tampa Bay Lightning, for the Tampa Bay Rays, for the Buccaneers. We're a company that we are trying to be just very we're national. You know, we work all over the country,
Yeah.
but we are trying to be very integrated in with Tampa Bay. Like
Nice.
that's our big goal is to just be that company in Tampa Bay. We have a big, we love our city. You know, we got big hearts for our city, and so it's been really cool to get to work with like the sports commissioner. Getting to sit on a meeting with the Tampa Bay sports commissioner and like he knows your name. It's like that's really cool.
That
Because
is.
they want to talk about esports. Or to get invited to go do esports stuff with USF. Like that's really neat to be seen as like these people they're streamers, but they also are professionals. In our area is really
Yep.
cool. So
And how did it come about?
so RareDrop was actually started just because the company needed to exist to make sure that GCO at the time the Destiny Community Con could actually happen. So it kind of was a shell company for a little bit, just so that taxes could actually be done correctly and
Yeah.
not all weird and messing people's personal financials up. So RareDrop kind of started because it needed to happen so that Guardian Con could exist. And then really when the pandemic started, it was we could either let the company die or we could try to figure out how to really make it work. And so, right around 2020 is when we, evolved. We've changed a couple times. We
Yeah.
started as kind of like a media content, creation house. We were doing, skits. We were doing, live streams. We were doing all of these things by using, our personal brands to try to elevate this one brand and kind of like not make it like a streamer house or anything like that, but try to, make like a streamer group, almost like a Smosh.
Yeah.
And that really wasn't really where our hearts were. We were still working our own personal brands, trying to get time to get all that, taking time from our personal stuff to do that. It wasn't really working. So then when the pandemic hit again, we were like, okay, there's an opportunity here we were talking to charities that they were doing everything physical and then they had to switch to digital. So we just started, we were coming on as contractors and we were just sitting down and showing them the ropes and teaching them how to put on, these charity live streams and consulting, with these massive companies that were trying to figure out, either how to, raise money or we've gotten to work with amazing companies that are like building houses, 3D printing houses down in Mexico and like all those things. So that was neat and that was working. And then, as things started to open up, those things started to go away. And then we had to transform and we brought on Mindy, who is our chief marketing officer. And she really changed a lot of how we operate as a company. And now we purely are, we're doing productions and, putting on live stream events for other companies, helping them, from top to bottom on like how to do like TikToks and how to do like live streams, like all that stuff. And then we're also working on like the agency side and marketing and
Nice.
things.
And who else is a part of it with you?
So Professor Broman,
Yeah.
he also streams on Twitch. Kevin, who's KMagic101, myself, and then Mindy, who is our CFO,
Nice.
our CMO.
And now, what is the connection to GCX? And for those that don't know, what is GCX?
Yeah, GCX is the Gaming Community Expo. Again, it all started in a bar. It was originally started by King Gathalion and Professor Broman. They started they wanted to do a meetup, and this meetup exploded. And then they wanted, and they I think someone just started a St. Jude charity thing like while it was there, just
wow.
for S's and G's, just like, and I think they raised like $100,000, like in that little span. They're like, we could do something with this. Like it could be a meetup and it could be a charity at the same time. So that's really how it happened. And then St. Jude noticed, and they're like, that's because it started getting more and more and more, raising more money every year. And then St. Jude was like, man, like this is great. We got all these gamers. We got this, this like they're trying to like put on this event. And so like, St. Jude comes in and like they've been an amazing partner to help facilitate, the tools that we need to help, to help raise more money for, for the children. It's been so cool to get to see that relationship grow and what really, we have an amazing opportunity to show how good gaming can do for the world.
Yeah.
Gaming does so much good. And it's been really cool to be able to showcase that.
Excellent.
With GCX.
And it's from a gamer standpoint, it's wonderful to see because I grew up, gaming being shunned to the point where like going through the years of like working, when you go into you go to work and you find somebody that games, it's sort of like that. oh, you game? And it's like that quiet
Yeah.
conversation. You're a closet gamer, and now to the point where gaming is cool, gaming is helping other people, and it's wonderful to see.
Yeah. Yeah, like yeah, you're right. I mean, like we were the nerds, you know. We were like you don't talk about like I barely talked about gaming in college.
Yeah.
You know, like I just didn't talk about it. You know, like that wasn't like people really weren't gamers, or if they were gamers, it was like they played on Xbox and like that was about like, oh, I play Call of Duty, and I was like, well, that's cool. Like let me show you my Steam library of all these
Right.
games that I play. You know, so like yeah, it's been so neat to just like really show that, you know, we aren't just the nerds who like just like blowing stuff up, you know. Like, you know, we're not the problem. You know, we really are just a bunch of just, you know, people who have huge hearts that want to just change the world.
Yeah. And especially now that you have a lot of gamers in their 30s and 40s that have
Yeah.
careers they have now, we can donate, we can help out, you know. I think that's
Yeah.
probably, whereas, you know, in the 80s and early 90s, you didn't have many senior gamers, you know. So now it's, you know, it's good to be a gamer.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. And like you said, I think like we talked about earlier, the ability to live stream this stuff. You know, there was no way, like you said, like the early 2000s. There's no way you could raise this much money with you know anything like that. Like it's unless you're doing telethons on the TV. Like there was
Right.
it was impossible. Like even like, you know, you're trying to do like your town. You know, you might get your church or you might get your high school or, you know, whatever. But the ability to reach an international audience, it's just, you know, it would be impossible to do without live streaming.
Absolutely. So now, you know, when you disconnect from all your gaming things, content creation
Yeah.
side of things, you're a dad and you're a husband. What are some of the things you like to do and enjoy?
Oh, well, for a while it was smoking meats. I during the pandemic, I drank a lot and I barbecued a lot. And then I realized, I was like, if I keep going down this road, that's not going to be good.
This is not a good ending.
Yeah, not a good ending. So we weaned off that. My go-to hobby right now is just weightlifting. I love working out. That is like, that's my therapy, and that's like my me time. People are like, oh, you should live stream your workouts. And so I was like, no, like that is my time where I get to pop on my headphones and I get to go bench press, or I get to go deadlift, and I'm just like, it's just me in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's probably my favorite time of the day is 4:30, and I walk through the door and I'm just like, and I'm ready to lift. Like that's how I start my day. It's religious at this point. You know, it's just, that's my favorite thing to do. I don't really game off of stream. I don't unwind with games. Lately it's been board games with my wife.
Hey.
We just started playing Casting Shadows, which is pretty cool. We play Magic together, which is fun. Sometimes it's just I end stream, I have dinner, we put the kiddo down for bed, we talk about our day for a little bit, and then I go to bed. You know, like I'm in bed by like 8:30, 9 o'clock, dude. You know, I'm up at 4. You know?
shoot.
So it's just people are like, why don't you stream at night? You know, I'm like, because I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know, because like I tried doing the, you know, working out after live stream, and it sucks.
Yeah.
I'm done.
You're drained.
I'm depleted.
Yeah.
My emotional tank is at 0. You know, like I've put all my energy into like trying to, you know, be fun and entertaining and also be really good at a video game, and like you're multitasking, you're doing all this stuff, and then you have meetings after that. It's like, do you really want to go lift after that?
Yeah.
Hell no. So yeah, like the early morning lift is just like, that's my thing. So
Nice. Excellent.
yeah.
And I also see you're a sports fan, Bucks and Bolts.
Yeah, dude. It is so cool. My mom made me a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I'll never forget Sunday afternoons, my mom screaming at the TV. And now like having the opportunity to like work with the Bucks is really, really neat. But yeah, like I love watching hockey. I played roller hockey as a kid.
Oh, no way.
Competed while I was a kid. And then my big passion whenever it comes to sports is karate. So if you put me in front of a mixed martial arts show, like I will walk you through like a jiu-jitsu moves, and like, oh, he's gonna go for this. Oh, look at that. That was a big part of my life. I competed nationally when I was 18, 19.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was another really cool part of my life. And so like sports has always like kind of been there.
Yeah.
But like as I got into college and, you know, married and became a husband, like sports kind of like declined.
Yeah.
And then like I think that's where like the passion for like weightlifting came back, because I've always been athletic. I just needed to find that thing that I could actually make work for my time schedule.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, to me, hockey, being a Canadian, hockey was our thing.
Who's your team?
It's the Canadians, but it's not doing very well lately. We have our dynasty, and you know, we just look back on that. But yeah, no, I hear it from all of my American friends. Hey, Barry, when was the last time a Canadian team won the cup? Yeah, okay, just You know, just leave me alone. It is the best sport to watch live, in my opinion.
It really is. We just went, we did a date night like 2 weekends ago. We went and watched a game, and I always forget what hockey is like when there aren't announcers.
Yes.
And it's you and the audience, and you hear the puck going back and forth, and you hear the and the and it's just like, and you're not hearing the person calling out the player's name and all of the where the puck's going and who has the stick. It's just you in the moment.
Yeah.
And like hockey is like, football's cool to watch in person. Like I've been to Bucks games and I've been in Ray J, and like it's cool. It's neat. But something about being in Amalie and watching a hockey game is a spiritual experience. Yeah. It really is. It's very special.
Yeah. The speed, the sound of guys hitting, you know, the chatter between the two. Yes, it's just an amazing
I swear
thing.
to God, they're piping some of the stuff from the rink like into the stadium, because like when we were there, I know I heard someone go oof when they got checked, and I was like, how did I hear that? It was because we had a lower. We actually they set us up in like right below the boxes, so it was like mid ring.
Yeah,
and it was just like I heard sounds that I'd never heard before. I was like, that is so cool.
Nice. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It was wonderful to meet
pleasure.
you. But before you go,
I just have to say, we're definitely have to get you on Star Wars and Scotch.
I'm game, absolutely. But before you go, like with every guest, I ask them to shout out somebody you think has a good story in your circle that would like to come on and share their journey.
Oh man, I know, you already had Pool Shark, right?
I had Pool Shark, yeah.
Have you had Jen?
Jen is kind of shy.
She is kind of shy.
Yeah.
Paul?
Who's Paul?
Action Jackson.
No.
Dude, we got to have Action Jackson.
All right. I may need you to twist his arm, but tell him that it's, it's okay. We're not weird or anything on the podcast, and we'll get him on.
Love it.
All right. Oh, one more thing. Any goals, anything coming up people should look out for, and anybody you want to give a thanks and a shout out to?
Yeah, honestly, I got to plug GCX event. So every year we put on a GCX event. We've been doing it the last couple of years in Orlando at the Rosenshingle Creek Resort. This year, it'll again be at the Rosenshingle Creek Resort in Orlando, Florida. It'll be August 16th through the 17th. Myself, Dr. Lupo, and many other people are going to be there. The only reason I can say myself and Dr. Lupo is because we're on the GCX board, and we're going to be there. We have to be there. So we will be there, including like King Gathalion, Professor Roman, and many others. So we'd love to have you. Head on over to gcxevent.com. And then also our charity marathon will be happening a few weeks before that in July. So we are hopefully going to keep on pushing on and raise as much money as possible for the little kids over at St. Jude.
Excellent.
And a big thanks to anyone. Man, I'm gonna thank my mods. My mods are awesome. They put up with me when I'm having a bad day, and they are some of the kindest people that I could ever ask to have a part of my life, because they put up with my crap, or they're always like, they're my rah cheerleader squad, regardless of like what's going on. So. And they're always like, I got like Brian, who's always like trying to like make my stream more interactive, and always like trying to do stuff and make it better. So like, yeah, without like my mod team, like I would be going insane. So
excellent.
A big thanks to them.
Excellent. Thank you again for doing this. It was wonderful to meet you.
Pleasure meeting you, Barry. Thank you so much.